Okay, here we're going to attempt to calculate the break-even point for your business projects. It's important to understand the break-even point. That is the number, the amount of products that you need to sell and the amount of money that you need to make so that your business literally breaks even. You're not making money, you are not losing money, you are just breaking even, okay? It is important to understand that number. We do not go into business to lose money. We typically don't go into business to break even either. We typically go into business to make a profit, right? So understanding where that break even point is important, because if you do not sell that many products, you are losing money. If you're selling more than this number, you are obviously making money. You are starting to turn a profit, and that's what we want, right? It's important to understand whether you are doing a large scale business or a business from your home business with just you're the only employee, because if that is your only source of income and you are losing money, what is eventually going to happen? You are either going to go bankrupt, you're going to have to get a second job, or you're going to attempt to go to, let's say, a bank and get a business loan to help your business, but you are showing them financial documents and technically your business is losing money. Chances of you getting a business loan are probably not going to be that great, right? So if you don't understand this concept, your business is probably going to fail, and it's going to make it very difficult to proceed any further than that, okay? Well, another example, again, being you're your own business, and my bills, my house costs a certain amount of money, my electricity, my car, they cost a certain amount of money, my bills total to $2,000. I start my own business, I'm the only employee, and I can't even make that $2,000 a month. Who's losing money? I am personally. Now my mortgage is being passed due. I'm not paying my bills. Now I can go into foreclosure. I can lose my house. All for something that I was trying to make money, but what ended up happening? I ended up losing everything. That's why this is so important, okay? So we're going to attempt to calculate the break-even point for your business. Once again, I'm going back into the donut shop example, okay? And this right here is the equation that we are going to use. The equation is revenue times, I'm calling this once again the magic number, MN equals overhead plus labor. Okay, this is the equation that we're going to keep going back to. I actually just came up with this. I like it. I've been trying to find a lot of videos online to come up with a break-even point equation for a restaurant specifically, and it wasn't that easy to find. So I'm using this now. It's honestly worked pretty well so far. So we've got revenue. Revenue we understand as the total amount of money that we are bringing in, the total amount of money that our business is making, okay? And this essentially is the number we're trying to figure out right now. How much money do we need to make? How many products do we need to sell to break even, to cover our overhead, our labor, and then technically, of course, whatever food cost is into that, but we'll talk about that again in a little second. We've already basically built the food cost into it. The magic number is what we're going to calculate. Essentially, it's our food cost percentage. That's basically what we've already built in. We come up with a decimal point, essentially a decimal number right here that will calculate out and figure out how much we need to make. Your overhead, you know what that is already. That is the total amount of costs, the operational cost for your business, your rent, your utilities, your lights. That's what the number you should have calculated last week. You should have that ready to go. And then, of course, you know your labor costs, okay? We're doing this all per month. So you should have about 2 weeks ago have figured out your labor cost, whether you did it weekly or monthly. Figure out what the monthly cost of that labor is, okay? And you're going to input that directly into this equation, okay? So we're going to go ahead and figure this out using my donut shop example, okay? So we're going to come back to this and we're going to go over here right now and we're going to do another little equation, okay? So my donut shop is selling donuts for $1 a piece. Oh my gosh, like I said, it's so difficult to write and hold this camera. Let's try that again. Okay, $1 each, okay? I've done all my food costs, just like you guys have been doing your food cost. I've dictated how much I'm selling my product for, but I'm also understanding how much each product costs me, right? So I've dictated, I'm selling the donut for $1, but I've done my food cost and I already know that each donut costs me 20 cents, okay? Now the 20 cents of that is my food cost. This is my food cost, right? Meaning everything else in that dollar that I've just made, the 80 other cents, is technically going to my overhead and labor, right? It's going to that. So we basically dictated what percentage of that dollar that I made is going to overhead and labor and what percentage is going to food cost. Ben, cut it out. Hey! Cut it out. So we've dictated that already and we can come up with the decimal. Because it's simple $1, 20 cents, and 80 cents like this, I get lucky. The decimal number that I'm looking for is 0.8 right here. This is relatively simple to cost out or calculate, and I'm going to show you how to do that. If you're doing something, Ben, cut it out. If you're doing something a little bit more complicated, okay? But keep up with me for right now so you understand what I'm talking about. We know that the amount of money that comes out of the dollar that I've made, the 20 cents is going to food cost. We know that 80 cents of that is going to overhead and labor. So we're dealing with the 80 cents, which because it's $1 is technically 80%, right? It's pretty easy. So I'm technically dealing with 0.8 for right now, okay? So we're gonna come over here and put 0.8 as my magic number. That's what I'm looking for. And I'm gonna do another example for you guys to see how to calculate this if you're doing some different products, okay? We have 0.8 now, and I'll just stay over here now because I have the other numbers all ready to go. My overhead, let's say I've calculated already for the donut shop and it's cost me $1,600. This is gonna be dictated by you guys. You dictate the overhead, so however much the overhead costs will be calculated out in the equation. Then you're gonna add your labor. If you remember my labor cost breakdown from 2 weeks ago, I think for the donut shop, I calculated out it was going to cost me about $5,392 to run the food cost, to pay for labor. Sorry, to pay for labor, right? This is my overhead, O. This is my labor, L. I've got my magic number here, and then I have R. So now you have to think back to high school algebra. How do we solve an equation like this? Well, first thing we're going to do actually is add up these two numbers right here and bring them to a total, O plus L. We figure out what this total is on this side of the equal sign. So 5,000, 6,000, it brings it up to what? 6,992, I believe, because 6 plus 3. Yeah, that looks about right. 6,992, which still equals 0.8 times R. Okay? Now, anytime, remember algebra, when we have in an equation something multiplied by something and we want to move this, we need to move this 0.8 to this side of the equation so that we get R equaling some number all by itself. And then now we know what R is. Now we know what that number, the magic number we're looking for at the end to tell us how many products we need to sell or how much money we need to make to cover those other two costs, okay? That's how we're going to do it. We need to get that 0.8 over to this side of the equation. Because R is multiplied by 0.8, we actually have to divide. So you divide by 0.8 on that side of the equation. You divide by 0.8 on that side of the equation. And then what you end up getting up here is R equals 6,992 divided by 0.8. Okay, divided by 0.8. And do I have a calculator right here? 6,992 divided by 0.8 should give me a bigger number, which it does. And it gives me $8,740. Dollars, right? This is in dollars right now. Okay? Because labor and overhead were already in dollars. this ends up coming out to be dollars. The revenue that we need to generate is $8,740 to cover $1,600 in overhead, $5,392 in labor. That only equals $6,992. The rest of that $8,740 is what goes to the food costs that paid for your donuts, and you made $0. You made nothing, okay? You technically made $8,742, but your business made nothing because it paid the employees, it paid the electric bill, and it paid the Cisco bill that covered the food cost, okay? Because each one of my donuts cost me $1, and because I need to make $8,740, I know, very simply, I need to make 8,740 donuts. I hope this made some kind of sense to you guys. I'm going to do one more example real quick using a couple more complicated numbers because the donut example is very, very simple in my opinion.